can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Great. You're welcome to the TDS TV.
Thank you very much, Precious.
Thank you, viewers. Thanks so much for being here, and sorry about that technical hitch. Just tell us about yourself. Who is Philemon?
Right. Well, Philemon is Philemon. So my full name is Philemon Gyasi-Antwi. I'm a Ghanaian, fully Ghanaian. I was born and raised at Ankasi, Lakeside in the Ashanti region. So I'm right by the Lake Bosomtwe. I think the most popular natural lake in West Africa. So I grew up at Ankasi, had my primary education at the Ankasi Methodist Primary from nursery to class 4, and from class 4 actually interesting, I was jumped to class 6 because at that time we didn't have a class 5 teacher, so I was jumped to class 6, which made me a senior of my year mates. And interestingly, I also became their school prefect when I was jumped to class 6. So yeah, that's my little background, where I'm from. My parents both from Ankasi Lakeside. My mom is what you probably call a food vendor, Bankura, and then my dad is a local preacher at the local Church of Christ, currently at Sewa. But yeah, so that's where I'm from. I had my primary education in my little village, Ankasi, until I got to class 6. That my wonderful class 8 teacher advised my dad to actually take me to the city, because he thought if I had continued my DHS in the village, I might have probably not get the best of grades to progress to senior high school. And thankfully, my dad listened to that advice, and that's my class 8 teacher, Mr. Robert Frempong, currently retired. God bless him for that wonderful advice. So from Ankasi, I came to Kwamo to live with my uncle, my father's younger brother, where I continued my education. Interestingly, when I moved from Ankasi to Kwamo, and I was asked to write this exam in order to be accepted at the Kwamo LA primary. I actually was expected to go to JSS because I thought I'd finished my primary 6, so I should be writing entrance exam to JSS. And the headmaster said, no, I'm too young to be in JHS. So I was brought back to class 6. But yeah, I had a good time at Kwamo primary, which actually started exposing me to many wonderful things, many wonderful colleagues. It was actually at Kwamo that I began to realize that reading is one of my serious passions. And interestingly, coming from a village, from Ankasi, I was actually made like the library prefect, where I was accompanying the headmaster then to a Joseph Educational Office to go and get library books for our school and all of that. I continued from Kwamo. I didn't finish my JHS at Kwamo. I moved to Chapatre, and this time around I was staying at Atonsu with my aunt, my mom's older sister. And I'm trying to give this background, although I'm speaking a bit slowly, but I just want people to get the clarity that the Philemon that they know or they've seen didn't just become Philemon. I'd actually come from these different places to Chapatre MA JSS. Interestingly, let me tell you another secret. When I go to Chapatre, it was a 3rd term of JSS1. So the headmistress said that no, I mean, nobody leaves a school at 3rd term to join another school. So she wouldn't accept me. My auntie had to beg her. They were church members to just allow me to write the entrance exam, just to satisfy their curiosity whether I'll be able to make it at Chapatre and JSS. And thankfully, I excelled the exams, and they admitted me to Chakwatre, and in 2002 I became their best student.
Wow.
At the BEC, and then continued to Kumasi Anglican, from Anglican to KNUST to read biological science. So this is Philemon from Ghana. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. So obviously, you were a disciple, isn't it?
Absolutely. A proud one. A proud one. Yeah. A proud one.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, viewers, we are speaking to Dr. Philemon Gyasi-Antwi, who is a research fellow at the University of Nottingham here in the UK. And he's just taking us through his life, a very amazing one, of course. And he did mention that he was laying this foundation for us to know where he's coming from. Basically, this show seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora. And as part of that, we seek to know their life journeys, their successes, their challenges, so that we can leverage on that and we can also rise together. So thank you so much, Philemon, for sharing with us. So in terms of professional background, what would you tell us?
Okay, so I describe myself as immunobiologist. Immunobiologist in the sense that I'm in between a biological scientist and an immunologist. So I study fundamental biology. So I actually did my first degree in biological sciences at KNUST, and then came to Oxford for my master's in immunology. So I have that broad background in biology before I started diverging into immunology. So that's how I describe myself. But more specifically, my niche, my research niche, is in infectious immunology. So I study infectious diseases and how they impact the immune system.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Philemon. So obviously, you did mention Oxford University. That's one amazing school. Almost everyone will love to attend. If I'm not exaggerating. So how did you get there? Are you able to share some of the things you did that you were able to get there? And most importantly, are you able to share some of the tips for people who are watching and may want to apply for scholarships, for masters, for PhD? Are you able to help us in about a space of five minutes?
Okay. Wow. 5 minutes. Let's see. So my journey to Oxford is also an interesting one. So when I completed KNUST, I did my national service there as a research assistant. We call it teaching assistant. And then I had made up my mind that I was actually going to further my education outside Ghana. And in fact, I had firm belief that I think after my first degree, I thought my next step was to go outside Ghana and have different experience in terms of academic work and then research work as well. So I started applying to different schools. Nottingham University was one of my earliest schools that I applied during my national service days. And I remember that time was Nana Red Amwa that had read his profile on the University of Nottingham website as one of their prestigious alumnus on the Chevening Scholarship. So I reached out to him that I've seen him. He's a Ghanaian that I'm also trying to apply to schools in the UK. So I need some guidance. And that's how I started talking to other people who had traveled outside to study. But Oxford was actually not one of my original schools that I applied for that particular year. That was in 2011. So I'd applied to Edinburgh, Imperial, Nottingham, Sheffield Hallam, and a couple of other UK universities. And unfortunately, that particular year, I got 100% tuition fee scholarship to Nottingham, but I couldn't raise the funds for the maintenance. So I couldn't take the course, and that course was actually microbiology and immunology. So the following year, I had one of my classmates who had gone to Oxford during the 2011 application cycle, and I thought, okay, well, this can be done. So why don't I apply to Oxford as well? Why don't I add it to one of the schools that I was applying in 2012? And lo and behold, I got called one day for interview, which also has some interesting aspect to it. I won't go into it, but then when I applied to Oxford, one of the things that made me believe that I could get the admission and then the scholarship was the fact that during my undergraduate days, I had made sure that I was part of the best graduating class, and this has always been my personal motivation, that if I've been accepted to read biological science, then let me complete it with the highest possible grade that I can, so that I can say that, okay, I didn't even like the course initially, but then for the fact that I've been given admission, let me put in my best effort. So and then coupled with some other research teaching that I've been doing during my TA-ship, and then some volunteering that I've been doing then. And I knew that Oxford actually likes most of these things. An excellent student who shows leadership and initiative, and students who also have that broad-minded perspective in terms of your outlook on life and academic work as well. I got the call for interview to Oxford. Had the interview, which took about 60 minutes, about an hour, through serious immunology and clinical immunology. Fortunately for me, that year I got the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, and in Oxford it was partnered with another individual who was sponsoring part of it. So it was called Norman and Ivy League Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Interestingly, Nottingham that year also gave me Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, but then I had to turn them down that year that I had chosen Oxford earlier. So yeah, that was my journey to Oxford. Before Oxford, had been rejected by many other schools, and that's one thing that many people will not probably see. I applied to more than 15 different master's programs. Some of them you get admissions, some of them you get unconditional offers, some you get conditional offers because you need to fulfill certain things. But yeah, it wasn't just a straightforward thing that when you hear that Philemon attended Oxford, probably he might have gotten it on a silver platter. No, had been rejected by many other schools, and I couldn't, as I said, I couldn't even take up my 100% tuition scholarship to Nottingham the previous year. So yeah, I will encourage any person trying to apply for postgraduate studies that it's not a straight journey. It's not like once you apply to a school, then you get admission, and then you get a scholarship, and then you go and study. You need to put your feet down, manage your expectations, keep applying. Even if you don't get admissions, you keep applying, and then you keep following on the admissions that you're putting in.
Thank you very much. Viewers, we are speaking to Dr. Philemon Gyasi-Antwi, who is a research fellow at the University of Nottingham. Okay, and he's already shared great insights with us so far. Thank you, Philemon. Can I just ask, you did mention at one point in time you had 100% tuition waiver, yet you decided not to go for that. What will be your advice to candidates who usually get waivers, let's say 50%, 80%, 100%, and may want to go forward with the faith that they will be able to work to take care of the other part of the tuition, if not fully waived, and also to take care of their upkeep and all that? What would be your advice to them?
So the advice I'll start that it can be based on your personal circumstance. For someone like me coming from the village, with parents who were not salary workers, so with nothing at all, there was no way I could raise the money myself to support myself while studying at Nottingham. And I had not been to the UK before. I didn't know anyone in the UK. So if I had come to the UK at that time, I would have come as a lone ranger, not knowing my left from my right. So it would have been a serious catastrophe. I think that's what I believe. And the UK Masters is just 1 year. It's very fast paced. There are many assignments are going to write. You'll be going for lectures, especially for those of us who apply for lab-based research masters, there are many times that you're going for lectures from Monday to Friday. So if you are thinking of working to probably pay for half of your fees, or even for your upkeep, it will be a very serious challenge for an individual who has no personal finances, or whose parents are not able to raise some of these funds. So I will say that if you get 100% or 50% scholarship, by all means, try to look for other avenues where you can get sponsorship, maybe the local government scholarships, or even if your parents can come in, borrow some money for you to go, that's fine. But to fully convince yourself that you are coming to the UK and you are even given only 20 hours a week to work legally as a student. So to convince yourself that you are going to use that 20 hours to raise enough money to pay for the rest of the fees and then for your upkeep, I think you will not enjoy your master's studies, and you come and you struggle, and at the end of the day, you might even think that would have been a waste of time actually taking that journey. So yeah, that would be my advice to anyone who is contemplating taking a 50% or 20% or 80% scholarship. Seriously consider your personal circumstances before you embark on that journey.
Thank you very much, Philemon. Thanks so much. Can I just, I'm very much aware that you had a VC scholarship for your postgraduate studies, specifically your PhD. I know quite a lot of people may not be aware of university-specific scholarships and all that. Probably we are very much aware of the very well-known ones like the Commonwealth scholarships and the Chevelins and all that. What will you tell people watching us, and how did you in any way find yours? Was it through someone? What will you tell people so that they can be well positioned to also explore some of these university specific and departmental scholarships that are available? And just to tie that with that, because of time, just within 5 minutes, if you can share a few tips for people who are doing postgraduate. I know after your PhD, you wrote a whole lot of reflection on how to be successful and all that. If you can just share a few of these with those who are watching us, I'm sure it'll be helpful.
Right. So let me start this way. So for anyone trying to go for postgraduate study outside the home country, like the UK, consider that finances is one of the biggest part of it. So aside getting admission, getting scholarship, getting funding for the fees, and then also for your upkeep is a major part of your journey. So people should not only focus on the program that they want to study or the school that they want to attend. People should seriously dedicate time to look for all the scholarships available at the schools. But most times you even read about the scholarship and they will say that, oh, this scholarship is for only home students, so only UK based students. But then when you explore further, you could see that sometimes they give opportunities to international students, but then you can raise or you can liaise with other scholarship schemes to top up the fee difference. In my case, I got to know the VC scholarship through my PhD supervisor. So when I was applying for my PhD, I was still in Oxford. It was actually during my first semester at Oxford when I approached my then PhD supervisor that I considered my research aspirations, and I want to continue PhD right after my master's. So we started communicating. I actually had the opportunity to come to Nottingham to go through her labs, and then she started telling me some of the scholarships available for PhD students, and that's when I got to know the Vice Chancellor's scholarship. So I think when I wrote my reflections on getting a PhD or carrying out your PhD in the UK, one of the first things that I said was that make sure that you get in touch with a potential supervisor early. And when you do that, you're able to establish a very good relationship, because most of these supervisors, they sit on boards, they sit on committees that award some of these scholarships. So once you get to know someone who has shown interest in you to supervise your work, they can give you all the links and all the tips in getting some of these scholarships, which sometimes may not even be advertised to the public. So this is what I would say. Do your search properly. You should even contact previous students from the university that you want to attend. Ask them the scholarship that they applied for. Ask them the criteria they use in selecting some of these students for those particular scholarships. And if you are planning to do a PhD, then my advice is that get in contact with your potential supervisor first. Once they are interested in working with you, getting funding becomes a bit easier because they will actually help you to identify potential scholarships that you can really apply for. So that was my situation in getting the Vice Chancellor scholarship for my PhD.
Life is a journey and sometimes can be a lonely road. When friends and loved ones forsake you, all you got to do is to be bold. I knew it years ago that those who undermined me had their minds undermined, but I never mind. They should keep on undermining because I'm a real gold. I must undergo mining. Talking of mining, it leads to discovery. We mine to discover, we learn to discover, we observe to discover. Friends can uncover you at the same time discover you. But I don't want to discover you, I would rather discover more, so I go on the internet and I listen to words of wisdom and intellect. Availability of information, interviews of great men and women all over the diaspora and all nations. Creativity at its best, dexterity of research, no need to go through any formal education. I introduce you to the Discovery Show. Let your friends and your family know the struggles before they blow, their highs and their lows. Pay attention to this show, it will make you feel at ease. The Discovery Show on YouTube got the steez. Now Perry, the presenter, please pose for the camera. I want to hear you say cheese. We are airborne like a flu. I want to hear you sneeze. It's true. The Discovery Show is live on air, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. See ya. TDS TV, Young to Learn. Host, Harry Precious. Executive Producer, James.
So thank you very much, Philemon, for sharing with us all these information. I mean, from your professional background and from your specialty with respect to your PhD, you did mention that you deal with infectious immunology. Are you able to educate us? If there's someone watching who doesn't even know much about what the immune system is about, what will you tell us? And most especially in the COVID-19 pandemic, how important is our immune system?
Right. So, where should I start? So, for all of us, as individuals, we are protected from foreign material. Okay, we are protected from foreign organisms. But how are we protected? We have a massive skin, which is actually the largest organ in the body, which protects us directly from infectious agents and many other particles entering into our internal organs. But then some of these organisms can cross these barriers. Some of these foreign materials can actually go through our noses, our mouths, and all of that. So when we get into our system, our body is designed in such a way that your cells, which some of them have been designed as immune cells, as soldiers, are able to detect these foreign materials and get rid of them so that you do not get sick or you do not get their effect on your system. Now, these soldiers are what we call the immune system. There are different branches of it. So classically, we have two. We have the innate, and then we have the adaptive. The innate are the cells which are already there, so they do not change. They are already present in your body, like your macrophages, your neutrophils, your mast cells, and all these eosinophils. All these cells are already in your system present. So anytime they encounter foreign materials, either they are able to eliminate them or they sound the alarm bell to get the adaptive immune system. So those are the specialized trained soldiers, your antibodies and your T cells. They get specialized based on the specific pathogen or specific foreign material that entered that entered into your system. So the specialized arm of your immune system, the adaptive, they are the ones that some of us regularly know, the antibodies and then the T cells. So they come in, they neutralize the enemy, and then they eliminate it for you. Now, in COVID-19, I'm very sure almost everybody around the world is now an infectious disease specialist, because I mean, we are being with the news every day about SARS-CoV-2 and coronavirus and how our immune system should be boosted and all of that. So viruses are around us, okay? We live in a world where there are many things that our naked eyes cannot detect. And viruses are part of these many things that we cannot naturally detect with our naked eyes. They are infectious particles. They are in the air, they are in the soil, they're everywhere. But then there are different classes of the viruses and how they cause diseases. And coronavirus, as we've gotten to know, is a respiratory virus which normally attacks the respiratory system. So from your let me even, as you keep saying that, I should keep the conversation simple. So let me just say that they normally attack your lungs, and that's the commonest part of your respiratory system that we all know. Now, how does your immune system come in? Viruses are very smart. When they enter into your body, all that they want to do is to take advantage of your body machinery, how your cells divide. They take control of that for them to divide, because on their own, they cannot do anything. On their own, viruses do not divide, they do not eat, they do not excrete, they can't do anything. So they rely on others in order to do all that they want to do. And in the case of coronavirus, we've come to understand that once they get into your internal tissues, they are able to quickly attach themselves to some of the proteins on your cell surface, especially the ACE2, that some of us have gotten to know. And by attaching to the ACE2, it facilitates their movement into your cells, where they take over your cell replication cycle system for them to use it to help them also replicate in you. So what your immune system does is that it picks this signal that there's an invasion of a foreign material, in this case, a coronavirus. Actually, my current research on coronavirus is that how does our innate immune system, the innate immune system are, as I said, the cells that are already there, your epithelial cells that are lining your throat, your lungs and everything, they're already there. Your macrophages, they're already there. Your neutrophils, they're already there. But how does your macrophage, in this case, even communicate to your epithelial cells that there's coronavirus? Okay, and how does that crosstalk between macrophages and epithelial cells actually cascade, or let me bring it down, actually devolve that information to other parts of your immune system to take action? Because we are trying to understand that the imbalance between the communication between your macrophages and the epithelial cells, that imbalance in communication is what actually leads to cytokine storm, or where we call the over release of signals to bring in many antibodies or many soldiers to come and clear the virus. And when there's that over release or that cytokine storm, that's when we believe that your own cells, your own antibodies begin to attack your other organs. So we've heard that many people with severe SARS-CoV-2 infection actually get tissue damages, organ damages, and most of these is as a result of your own antibodies being heightened or being over heightened to respond to the enemy. And we are trying to tell people to make sure that your immune system is optimum. Why? Because you need your soldiers to be ready to fight your enemy. So naturally, all of us, and just to wrap up, because I think I'm just talking.
No, just feel free to educate us on that, because COVID is real, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, so naturally, we tell people that even before the vaccines came, we were telling everybody to make sure that your immune system is intact. How do you boost your immune system? You need proper rest, because the cells, your B cells that will produce the antibodies, they take time to generate, they take time to divide before they produce these wonderful antibodies. If your body is stressed out, then you can imagine that the cells that you need as soldiers to produce those antibodies for you will be also stressed out. So we kept telling people to take time to rest, make sure that your diet is optimum, make sure that you're exercising. All of these things boost your immune system. And then one major killer or one major destroyer of your immune system is stress. Stress have been shown that, studies have shown that stress actually impairs our body fighting mechanism. The more stressed you are, the more prone you are to other infectious diseases and even non-communicable diseases. So we keep advising people to reduce their stress, eat healthy, exercise, and then that will boost their immune system naturally. But then that is not all. Your body is at war. So you can either follow the normal pattern where you exercise, you eat healthy, and then you rest to boost the immune system. But then you need an augmentation. You need to prepare your soldiers quickly. Okay? And in this case, you want to prepare your soldiers in such a way that they'll be fully fortified before they even encounter the enemy. And that's when vaccination comes in. And I'm very sure that now most of us know all the different types of COVID-19 vaccines that are available. But the two classical ones that I want to mention, the Pfizer one and the AstraZeneca one. So the Pfizer one that we've heard about is an mRNA-based vaccine. And actually, this is one of the first time that we are using mRNA to produce vaccine. Now, this technology has been there. I mean, we are using mRNA as cancer therapeutic agents. We are exploiting. Okay, let me break down mRNA. So, because I'm speaking to you, Precious, because I know that you know. Right. So, when we take our bodies, okay, our bodies are programmed, okay, in such a way that everything that your body does originates from somewhere. In this case, we call them your DNA. So your DNA contains everything about you. All the informations that we need about you are contained in this very little molecules called DNA. Now, DNA has to pass on that information in order for that information to become visible. So my eyes that you see, my hands, my hair, all of that are contained in my DNA. But then before you can see my hair or my eyes, that message contained in DNA has to be translated. And in that transfer of information from DNA, before you can see the visible one, is the messenger RNA in between. So the messenger RNA carries that information from the DNA, and then it passes it on through your cells, different compartments. In fact, as I said, I don't want to do more cellular biology, but then the mRNA will transfer that information through your cellular machinery, and then we produce proteins. So what we see are proteins, our hairs, our fingers, everything is just protein, okay? But then before we got the protein, the information was in the DNA, and the DNA passed that information to mRNA. So the M stands for messenger ribonucleotide. Yeah, mRNA, not to confuse anybody. So the M stands for messenger. So let's keep that one in mind, that the mRNA is just a messenger carrying information from DNA to proteins. Now, in producing mRNA-based vaccines, the viruses have mRNA. The virus is a structure, a protein structure, okay, like let's say like my face, that has the mRNA inside it, okay, that has its information inside it, so that's its genetic material. But then when it gets into the human body, it uses the human machinery to translate that message from its mRNA into proteins. So if we want to produce vaccines quickly to eliminate this particular virus, then the best thing that we can do are two. Either we take proteins from the virus, in this case, the AstraZeneca vaccine, or we take the genetic material, in this case, the Pfizer vaccines. I was telling one colleague that imagine a CD player, or no, a CD itself, and then a cassette. Okay. You can put information on both. You can put songs on a CD, and you can put songs on a cassette. But then CDs are more crisp, right? CDs are more CDs are clearer compared to cassettes. CDs are, I don't know. I mean, they are shinier. They are I mean, when you CD, they are portable compared to cassettes. So the mRNAs are the CDs, and the protein structures that we use for vaccines are the cassettes, like the AstraZeneca. Now, because CDs are more fragile, you need to protect it very well. That's how come for the mRNA-based vaccines, we keep them at very low temperature, like minus 80 degrees, because they are very fragile. We just actually put some fats on it so that they do not disintegrate. However, the AstraZeneca one, because it's just protein, they are very robust. So you can keep them even in a normal room temperature and they will not disintegrate. But then the main aim is to raise soldiers for you. Raise soldiers for you so that when you meet the real enemy, the full coronavirus, you will be able to fight it and fight it very well. And I've heard many people also say that, oh, I vaccinated somewhere in May, in April, but then I still got the viral infection. How come? How is it that although I've been vaccinated, I still got the infection? Now, the simple answer is that when you get vaccinated, we do not put like an overall material around you so that you will not get into contact with the virus. No, the main aim of the vaccination is to prepare you to meet the virus in case it comes. So once you get vaccinated, it doesn't mean that you will not be prone to getting the infection. If you avail yourself, if you expose yourself, you get a virus. But then trust your immune system that if your immune system is optimum, then you are going to be protected from getting severe infections from the virus. So basically, that's the general principle of what is happening. And my research that we are doing is quite interesting. There are many interesting things that we are finding in the lab, especially with how the innate immune cells communicate before antibodies are released to fight the coronavirus.
That's comprehensive and quite basic. I mean, I'm sure quite almost everyone watching us may understand what you've explained. I mean, thank you very much, Philemon, for. So, I mean, in basic terms, what will you tell people who are hesitant about taking these vaccines and all that? What will you say to them? Okay.
There are many reasons that people use, to say that they won't take the vaccine. Some what should I say, based on religious reasons, some based on, let's say, they say that it was too quick to develop these vaccines, so we cannot really trust its efficacy. What I would say is that science has really moved so quickly. The ways that we used to produce BCG, so BCG is a vaccine against tuberculosis. BCG was produced in the 1950s, And the way that we're producing these vaccines against TB, it's not the same way that we are producing vaccines now. Technology has moved on. In fact, my research that I was doing at Oxford for my master's was trying to develop a new type of TB vaccine, because we thought that the BCG vaccine, although it's the gold standard for TB vaccination, its efficacy actually reduces as you grow older. So we thought of coming out with a new formulation of getting a vaccine. I will tell people that if your reason for not taking the vaccine is because you think they were produced too suddenly, or they took shorter time to produce, trust that the technology for producing mRNA vaccines has been there all along. And naturally, that's what we will be doing in the labs. We have been researching for all these platforms. So repurposing them for this vaccine wasn't anything that was strange. And again, for some time now, I mean, there are now like millions and millions of people who are vaccinated. Okay, so if you are waiting to see what will happen to those who are vaccinated, now imagine, okay, imagine that you getting the virus while you are waiting to see what happened to those who are vaccinated. You are putting yourself at a greater risk. Okay, you might not live to see what will happen to those who are who are vaccinated. So yeah, I'll plead with people that the vaccines are safe. Let me in fact, by saying that, let me put this caveat that everything that we take into our bodies have potential side effects. Okay, even the food we eat, okay, even the food we eat can have potential side effects based on how you cook it, how much you eat, and then the conditions under which you ate it. So they shouldn't be afraid so much of the side effect. They should think about the greater risk of protecting themselves from getting a severe form of coronavirus. And if your reason of not taking it is fertility, then be rest assured that coronavirus actually reduces your fertility, especially in men. And I think during the early days of SARS-CoV-2, we realized that the coronavirus actually hides in the testes of men. Okay, because I don't know. Quickly, your brain, like your yeah. Let me clarify this. Your brain, like your testes, is called like a privileged site in terms of immunology. So you don't really have much antibodies and T cells going there, okay, to fight any infection. But then we've realized that there is the proteins that are on your cell surfaces that help coronavirus to enter your cells. Majority of them are in your testes. Okay. The coronavirus can actually go there and hide there, and because your body, absolutely, because your body naturally thinks that your testis area is a privileged site, so we don't need to go there for any protection. This virus can hide there for a number of months or years without your antibody detecting it. And more research are coming out that men who get severe form of SARS-CoV-2 can suffer some form of impotency at some point.
Wow, this is I don't know what to say, but thanks for the education, Dr. Philemon Gyasi-Antwi. I'm sure this will be a caution to almost everyone to try your best. Of course, he's tried to issue a caveat as to the possible reasons why someone may refuse, but try if you can to take your vaccination for this COVID and any other vaccination for the purposes of protection. So we are speaking to Dr. Philemon Gyasi-Antwi, who is actually a research fellow at the University of Nottingham here in the UK. He's taken us through his life. He told us about his professional background. We've spoken about COVID and vaccination, scholarships, postgraduate studies, and all that. And we are really grateful. Thanks very much, everyone, for watching. Yeah, Philemon, just look at this. Does it look familiar?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So for viewers, those who haven't seen this yet, Philemon and the colleague, he's going to talk about this. They were involved in a very innovative contest, and they were the first runners-up. So congrats, Philemon, and you and your other colleague as well. But generally, what we want to talk about is developing an innovative mindset. You've told us about your professional background, but you went into this contest with some great ideas. I've actually read about that. But tell us, for those who haven't seen it, what was this about, and what does this seek to achieve in the future? And what is the way forward after becoming the first runners-up for this program?
Okay, thank you, Precious. So for those watching, the colleague of mine in this picture is called Ebenezer Subeko, and he was my senior actually at Tech. He was at Tech reading materials engineering when I went to Tech to read biological science, and we happened to meet in Nottingham when he came for his master's in materials science. Now, that's one interesting thing about science and research in the UK. So when I took my first postdoc position to work on diabetes, the group that I joined, they were into biomaterials. So they were using some proteins and polymers and polymers to develop wound healing dressings for diabetic wounds. Now, my main part as an immunologist was to try to develop these biomaterials to become immunogenic, to produce, let me break it down. Yeah, I mean, to make it immunogenic means that to elicit immune response around the wound area to help with the wound healing. And that was when my friend and senior colleague approached me that he has this interesting idea about material, because well, he's a materials engineer, especially with plastic, and it is something that he has experimented before in Ghana. And if I'm interested, I should collaborate so that we do further research about it. And I told him about my interest in biomaterials, where we were using polymers and proteins to develop these wound dressings. And that's when we started working on this project, where we gather plastics. Okay, I mean, there are plastic waste choking everything everywhere in our environment. And how do we get rid of this plastic waste? Mostly through recycling. So traditional recycling of plastic waste to repurpose the waste into other forms of plastic. Some have actually started using it to make concrete, so that we have concrete blocks made from plastics. And then the idea was that we can actually repurpose these plastics into composite boards. Now, how do you do that? What do you mean by composite boards? Composite boards. Okay, so in composite boards, just imagine like plywoods. Okay, but these are not plywoods. So let's say thousands of plywoods. Okay, so these boards that we use for doors, for fences, and all of that. I mean, the bookcase behind me can be made from composite boards. Yeah. Okay. So we thought of shredding this plastic, okay, and then adding different ratios of sawdust. And sawdust are also waste generated from this carpentry work and all of that. When you add different ratios of sawdust to this plastic, and then you add some adhesives, you're able to generate this composite board. So in effect, we are making something durable from plastic waste. We are trying to reduce the amount of plastic that goes into our water bodies and then refuse dams. So I mean, generally that was the whole idea. We are still at the experimental stage, trying to, as I said, using different ratios of plastic, different exposure of plastic to different substances, and trying to reduce the adhesives that you use, so that you use only the plastic as adhesive, and then adding different ratios of sawdust in order to determine different strength and durability of the boards that we produce. And we thank everyone for the support. That we received many wonderful support from our friends and colleagues on social media, from the University of Nottingham Ingenuity Lab, where we received several mentoring sessions, and then also when even we entered into the Engineers in Business Fellowship, we received amazing support and mentorship from many of the people that we engage with. So yeah. And one thing
is it something that go ahead.
I wanted to talk about the innovation. So currently, what the world needs is that when you have a scientific idea, when you have an idea, think about it if it can be commercialized. Think about it if we can develop a business strategy from that particular idea. Because an idea on the shelf is just an idea, okay? Just like the mRNA technology, if we had kept it in publishable books and all of that, it would have remained on shelves. But then, if there are spin-out companies, we can take those ideas and then do further investigation to produce viable business ventures. So that's the encouragement I'll give to my friends and colleagues who are studying, that any project that you are involved in, think about it if there can be a commercial aspect of it where you can generate innovative business solutions from.
That's great. That's a great idea. And one thing I also pick from here is collaboration across professions. You are from a different professional background, and your colleague is also from a different professional background. But with this innovative idea, you were able to come together and build something that has been successful. So, I think one thing that we can all take from this is that we should look beyond just people within a close range of, professional background, and also collaborate to solve the problems we have in society. So thank you very much, Philemon, for this. It's very, very, very insightful to share with us on this. So we really appreciate, and we hope that you continue with whatever you are doing. So viewers, let me introduce to you Henbeck 60 Hub. Henbeck 60 Hub. You can find them on Facebook. The name is Henbeck 60 Hub. And basically, if you need footwears, clothes, watches, bags, and books anywhere across the world, you want that to be bought by this particular company and shipped to you wherever you are, or you have them already, they are ready, and you want them to come and ship them to wherever you want them to take them to, then you need to contact Henbeck 60 Hub on +233 546 022 952, or you can send them email at henbecktravels@gmail.com. If you want watches, bags, books, clothes, footwears to be shipped to you wherever you are across the world, these are the people that can do the best of job for you. So Henbeck 60 Hub, they say it's a world of endless possibilities. And you are watching the Discovery Show TDS TV here on Facebook and on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter. Basically, a show that seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in the area of healthcare, politics, religion, academia, and what have you. And we are speaking to Dr. Philemon Gyasi-Antwi, who is a research fellow at the University of Nottingham, and he's done extensively well in sharing a lot of things with us. We acknowledge we are almost on the time as expected, but we want to speak about mentorship, we want to talk about leadership and other things. There's one thing I saw on social media recently and I was blown away. You were actually trying to raise funds or help to fund the education of one particular gentleman at the University of Oxford, isn't it? So are you able to share with us what moves you, or it may not even be you alone. What is the inspiration for you looking out or trying to reach out to also help people to go into this? And what will you share with people regarding mentorship, leadership, and even helping to touch society in great ways like this? Just share with us. It's a very inspiring approach you took. So just share with us.
Thank you, Precious. Well, as Ignatian said, one thing that if he's able to see far is because he stood on the shoulders of giants. Okay. Where I am, I'm also actually here because there were many giants that offered their shoulders for me to stand on. When I started my graduate school applications, actually, one of my recommendation letters that was written for me by Professor Kwesi Obidan, so the immediate Vice Chancellor
of Coventry University of
NYC. Yeah, and do you know what? He actually even helped edit my SOP for me for my graduate studies, and I was blown away. In fact, when he came with the red markings and everything, I was blown away. And that's the impact of mentorship. Okay, you help others to succeed. Okay, in areas that although probably they could venture themselves, but then with your little help they can go further. And through that inspiration and that help that I've received from many other people, I try to also at least help others to also move further in their aspirations. In terms of Roland, so Roland actually contacted me somewhere January 2021, that he has completed KNUST in 2018. He has finished his national service. He graduated with first class in petroleum engineering. He was on one scholarship scheme that I'm part of the board of trustees. So at the University of Oxford, we have a scholarship scheme based in Ghana called Test for Ghana, Tertiary Education Scholarship Trust for Ghana. The umbrella group is Test for Africa. So we are based in Ghana, Malawi, and then one other African country. So as alumni from Lenica College, Oxford, we are poached to be part of the trustees of this scholarship scheme, where we groom other undergraduate students in Ghana, especially brilliant but needy students in all the public tertiary universities in Ghana, to also help them to climb the academic ladder. When he approached me that he was one of our beneficiaries and he had applied to other schools, I think that year he applied to Imperial, but then he didn't get the scholarship. But he told me that he was going to apply to Imperial and other universities again. Then I told him, okay, do you know what? I actually know someone who also completed KNUST, who did petroleum engineering and came to Oxford. And that particular person, I got to be involved in his application as soon as I left Oxford in 2013. So I was directly involved in that particular person's application when I was in Ghana after my master's. So I told him, you know what, I'll put you in contact with this other guy because you seem to be following the same path. And lo and behold, I was able to put them in touch, and then he also helped him to get admission. Now the rest was the funding. Getting scholarship to Oxford is a bit challenging because their school fees are really on the higher side. So most scholarships are not able to cover everything. And I told him my personal experience that when I actually got my scholarship to Oxford, my common share scholarship was not even able to pay all my tuition fees at Oxford. Then in 2012, my tuition fee was about £30,000 for the masters. So and that program, integrated immunology, when you check it today, the fees is like £45,000 for that 1 year master's program. So I told him how I contacted my department to help me top up my scholarship. So I mean, my part as a mentor was to calm him down, open his eyes to different opportunities, and direct him to different areas he can seek help, and then eventually vouching for his integrity and then his genuine intelligence. You know, Roland is a very intelligent guy, and if you sit down to listen to his story, you know that the guy, I think, is one of the most strong-willed person I've ever met. So I was really glad that when we came in and then we started sharing the GoFundMe adverts, many other people joined, and by God's grace, we were able to get Roland to come to Oxford, and he's doing fantastic in Oxford. And mentoring, gives us the opportunity to kind of replicate our lives in other people's lives, so that they will be able to move further than us. And I think there's nothing nobler than that, to help other people to succeed, to help other people to move ahead, even in areas that sometimes they thought they could never reach. I've had many mentors in my life. In fact, my own parents, my dad is my greatest mentor. You can imagine the amount of books he bought for me. Sometimes the books that he was buying for me, I didn't even know the importance of them until I got to the university. And these were the books that he had bought for me when I was in class 6 or in JSS. So I've actually read this far because I've been standing on the shoulders of giants, and that's what I want to do for others in my aspirations of mentoring others.
Thank you very much, Philemon. Obviously, we have a whole lot of things to talk about, but really time is not on our side. We are not out of words, but we're out of time. But I mean, This is one comment from Irene Bosman. Irene says, hi, Dr. Philemon, great discussion. Thanks for your advice. When I contacted you in 2015 about my 50% tuition scholarship in Nottingham, I took your advice and even secured a shared scholarship the following year. So regards to the family and continue to excel and impact the world. Thank you, Irene. So that is one thing. So obviously, these things are very, very, very.
I don't even remember. I don't remember that we had that conversation. Wow.
Is you. So thank you very much for the great impact, Philemon. If we can round up the whole discussion. I know you've done quite a number of research publications, and I'm very much poised to discuss some of these things with academics who come on this platform. I know you've done quite a number of publications on hyperglycemia, insulin, and other innovative stuff, things about diabetes and all that, amongst others. Are you able to consolidate all these within a space of 5 minutes to just speak to us about what you've done in the past? I know it's a tight scanner because 5 minutes is short, but do us a favor.
Okay. So my main background is in, as I said, infectious immunology. My PhD was studying Pseudomonas aeruginosa and how its security systems impact its infection in the lungs in the cystic fibrosis patients. But then my first postdoc was in diabetes, which was quite a shift from what I've been doing for the past 4 years in the lab, trying to do molecular microbiology and then immunology. Now, the diabetes that project that I joined was gestational diabetes. So diabetes that its onset comes in during pregnancy. And it took me to Ghana, but then, although that the main research area was on gestational diabetes and its management, the group that I joined was a typical diabetes research group where they were experimenting different aspects of insulin structure, biomaterials, and all other aspects of diabetes. And as you talked about the research publication that we did, one of them was trying to understand the one type of insulin that many people use, and we call it glulisin. So glulisin is a type of analog, okay, insulin analog, where when you take the natural insulin, we have changed to amino acids. So where we have the lysine, where we have the asparagine in the natural insulin, we've changed it to lysine. And then where we have aspartic acid, we've changed it to glutamic acid. So this particular insulin, we call it fast-acting insulin. Fast-acting in the sense that when you inject it into your subcutaneous tissue, it takes between 12 to 30 minutes to act. To reach its peak is like 1.5 hours, and then it will kind of regulate your body's glucose level. Now, why do people need this insulin? Obviously, diabetes is a huge problem in the world. Diabetes, I mean, let's forget the type 1, which is the genetic one that people's immune system actually attacks their pancreatic cells, so they are not able to actually produce the insulin themselves. But then when you look at the type 2, which is more of a non-insulin dependent, which actually is because although your body produces insulin, it is not enough, okay, to control your blood sugar, or even if it is enough, your cells have grown resistant to the insulin. So we are trying to find many ways to help people with hyperglycemia to control their blood sugar level. So this particular fast-acting insulin, we wanted to know its molecular structure. Why? Because if we get to understand how it is, okay, properly, if we get to understand its crystal structure, we can design it properly to become more efficacious, okay, or to become properly absorbed, okay, in your body to help regulate your blood glucose level. So that's what we did. So we took the insulin and then we used different characterization techniques, X-ray crystallography, just to study its molecular structure in order to give proper, what should I say, proper advice on its structure, so that in future, if we want to redesign this particular insulin, we can make it in a better way to help our diabetic patient. And we did another aspect of another type of insulin, which was a low acting one. And then we wanted to know the shelf life. You know, when you take insulin from your fridge, you put it into let's say normal environmental temperature, right? Normal room temperature, before you take it into your body, which is your body temperature. So it goes through 3 different kinds of temperatures, from the fridge to the normal room temperature, and then to your body temperature. But then what happens to the insulin? Does the insulin still still maintain its structural integrity? Is it still able to do the work we intend it to do? So we studied the temperature differences and the shelf life to see if there's like serious impact on the insulin. And in which indeed we found out that there's a serious impact due to the temperature differences. So these are some of the things that we were doing. And then we started doing the biomaterials, where we thought we can redesign wound dressing for diabetic wounds, because we know that people who have diabetes, when they get sores, these sores become ulcers, and it takes longer for them to heal. So what can we do to help them heal? We know that if you are diabetic, means that you have very low insulin. So we wanted to use insulin as the substructure, and then add some other polymers to it, and then use it as a wound dressing. So, I mean, those are the things that I was doing before COVID-19 came, and then had to switch my research to work on coronavirus and how it impacts the immune system.
Trust you, Philemon. You are loaded, and I wish we had a long time to talk about a lot of things, you know. But obviously, time is against us at this moment. But definitely look forward to our invitation again. You'll definitely be coming to the TDS TV show again for us to have a number of discussions on different things. But we genuinely appreciate your time. We want to use about 2 minutes to wrap up. Is there anything you want to touch on that we haven't spoken about, or anything you want to rehash from what we have said so far? That'll be well appreciated.
Okay, so my fellow Ghanaians watching, especially the young undergraduate students, what I want to tell you is that take your university degree serious. Okay, there are many things that when you go to the university, people will tell you, oh, first class is not important, just have fun and then graduate, and then life moves on. Because I mean, there was this perception that even those who get first class, they end up not getting jobs to do, right? I want to reorient your mind that getting a very good degree opens many unimaginable doors. Okay, and then don't think that the things that you are studying in Ghana, you're only going to stay and live in Ghana and work with them. The world is open. Okay, so take your study serious. Graduate with a very good degree. I'm not saying that kill yourself to get first class, but if you can, go for it. If you can't, do your best to graduate among the best students in your class. There are many unimaginable doors awaiting. And then look for mentors. Don't go through your university education without looking for one potential person who has gone ahead of you in your field of study. Look for mentors, study them. I actually have one mentor that I've not met in person. I've actually not contacted him at all, but I only follow him, and I know all the things that he does. Okay, he's Dr. Dakwampem. So Dakwampem, although he's Ghanaian American, he did medicine at Harvard. Okay, and afterwards he did MPH, and then he came to Oxford to do MBA. And currently he's the board chairman of Broadridge biomedical company in South Africa. So they are into HIV research and all of that. And I love his career path, you know, from being a medical doctor to doing public health to doing MBA, and now actually establishing a biomedical company. I've never met him. I only read about him when I go to Oxford, and I've been following him since. Get mentors, follow people that you aspire to be, and then learn from them. The world is open. There are many, many opportunities around the world. Just take them when they come.
Amazing conclusion. And the late Kofi Annan, who was the UN Secretary General, said, knowledge is power, information is liberating, and education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family. So thank you very much, Philemon, for such a wonderful time with us here on the Discovery Show TDS TV, here on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as Instagram and on Twitter, a show that basically seeks to interview professionals in the diaspora and beyond who are making significant impact in their own areas. And today, Philemon has been great. We look forward to sitting with you. And viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time and everything you've spent just to be here with us and for us to learn and to grow together. We look forward to sitting with you sometime next 2 weeks. And any final words, Philemon? I know you've just concluded, but any last, it could be a shout out or anything you want to say before we wrap up.
Well, shout outs to everyone watching. Coronavirus is real, so please get vaccinated and protect yourself. You need your life now in order to assess what will happen in the future. So do all that you can to preserve your life now. If it's vaccination, please go for them. If you need boosters, please go for them. If you need rest, please take time to rest at this crucial moment. You don't need to overwork yourself. Cut down stress. And then, live amazing, happy life to fulfill all the purposes that God has for you on this earth.
Thank you, Philemon. This show was proudly sponsored by Henbeck 60 Hub. Follow them on Facebook and also contact them through their contact as we gave you, and on through email henbecktravels@gmail.com for your books, bags, clothes, footwears, and all that. And if you want that to be shipped to you, they will do that. This show was ably produced by Mr. James Kwabena-Opon, and I am your regular host, Precious Adadidiodu. Catch you sometime, and thank you very much. Philemon, thank you very much. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.